Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for coming out tonight to hear about the secrets of how our greatest, longest-running, funniest and best soap is created. It's, I say that it's the only one I watched.
The great thing is that with Coronation Street, there was a blueprint that was established by Tony Warren when he invented it, which was sort of strong women and feckless men. And I think, you know, the women are just as strong now and the men are just as feckless as they ever used to be.
You shot Christmas about a month ago, did you?
Yeah.
And you're looking forward as far as
May.
summer, early summer?
Yeah, and in the back of my head, I'm always looking further than that, going, well, what we're doing in May on screen, what are the implications going to be to take us into... Because a great summer sets you up for a great autumn. It's a soap, it never ends. Every story, what seems to be the end, should be the prologue for the next chapter. I'm looking 20 years from now, which is absurd, because I won't be there 20 years from now, and looking at a character like Amy, who the actress who plays her is phenomenal. Her mother is Tracy Barlow, who's killed 3 people and got away with it. The soap gods will never have the vengeance with her. Great-grandmother was Blanche, who had the driest, harshest tongue in the world, and suddenly this little actress is bringing us that. She's absolutely doing it, and that's not a child actor being themselves. The child in question is a lovely young lady.
There's always characters that you love writing for different reasons, and what you get to do is range, so you can cut Corrie particularly, EastEnders maybe less so, at my pub. That is, you could cut from really quite heartbreaking stuff to, you know, Rita and Norris in the cabin talking about bonbons, to, you know, to grief, to fights, to, you know, you can cut in that way and get under characters' skin.
You've come back, Tina, after all this time, and you're suddenly doing a 1-hour live show in which you are nearly murdered.
Yeah,
your attacker is murdered in front of you.
Yeah, Stuart asked me when I came back, oh, would you be interested in being in the live episode, which I think he asked most people. I went, oh, yeah, sure. And I thought it would be something quite small. So when Stuart sat me and Jack down, who plays my brother, and told us roughly where the story was at, and I must admit I was completely shocked.
That's what soaps do. They tell the story of everybody's births, deaths, marriages. For this, I realised what I've been saying in interviews when people say, how do you make a soap? I was going, it's all about the mix. And what's special about Corrie is the high drama, the romance, the comedy. I went, well, let's just go back to basics. Let's get an episode that sums up everything that Corrie's
I want to pick that out, because for me, it's the reason that makes... It is special to me, anyway, because it has humour.
Some of the most powerful stories, you know, the Roy and Hayley stuff, were really kind of overpowering where the comedy was. And actually, there were episodes where it was inappropriate, a lightness of touch occasionally. So it was very, very conscious to kind of go, hang on, the mix, just the balance is just coming out of kilter a little bit.
There are about 600 people involved in Alive, you know, and it's kind of about the best bonding exercise you could ever do. I mean, if you could hire it out to corporations like IBM or Apple, you know, all go through Alive, and that would team bond people completely, because at the end of it, you know, people are hugging each other. Sound guys are hugging lighting guys, something that's never happened in the history of television ever. You know, it is incredible.
Do you find as an actor you get something from directors even after a year or 2 years of doing it? A director will give you something extra.
Absolutely, they will know what they want, and they will know where they want it. So, and also it's a thing of wanting to impress them as well. It almost feels like, well, it's like being at school and almost they're your teacher. Yeah, you're filming up to 20 episodes at the same time.
Are you? You've got up to 20 scripts in your head.
You can be in a scene where something, you know, horrendous has happened, and then you've jumped, the next scene you've jumped back and nothing's happened or something else has happened. So sometimes you do have to have the director say, just to let you know. We're like, oh my God, of course, you know. So yeah, so there's a lot of jumping around, so it's sometimes quite hard to remember where you're at.
It's always about character, and audiences want to know what happens next. You need to just make sure an audience wants to know what happens. So it's about forward momentum, and obviously, I mean, every scene should have some forward momentum, but an end of part hook, or particularly an end of episode hook, has to always lean forward somehow, immediately, because otherwise people won't come back.
It's very, very hard to get on the writing team, but it's not that hard to get into the story office because we try people out there, and the story office, you know, they come to the conferences and they have to be able to write because they have to write the stories well. And we go out to universities, we do a sort of thing where we give them the plot for the show that week, and then we teach them where the tags go and the hooks and how the structure works and things, and then they brainstorm and they come back with their storylines. And from that process, we find people who go into the story office. And actually on Emmerdale, I think 3 or 4 of the writers on the Emmerdale team have come from the story office.
So my question was actually about diverse casting. So we have a Muslim family in Coronation Street, and I'm sure that took a lot of work and research and a very deliberate decision to bring them in. But I'm just wondering about characters like Luke and Steph. Is that blind casting? Was that a deliberate decision to bring in a black brother and sister? How did that work? And generally, how do you do that?
I'm just very, very conscious, and not for politically correct reasons either, and not because Lenny Henry's telling me to. I go back to a question I always ask myself: what would Tony Warren do and create if he started the show now? Manchester is incredibly diverse, an incredibly diverse city, and the working class streets of Manchester now are that diverse.
The reaction that I've had personally to people that I meet, fans on the street, I was a bit worried. I'm not going to lie. That are we just a token family? Is that what they're going to think anyway? I know that those weren't the reasons, but I think the reaction has been so positive, and people just seeing a true reflection of their communities and people that they can identify with.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. I've watched these people every week and admire them hugely, and it's just been a total thrill for me to sit here and talk to them, to all of them. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for coming as well.